am going to do a recycled parts for art video. This is a bonus video that's going to come out from me for Recycled Parts for Art. Recycled Parts for Art is hosted by Jeri Bellini. She has a Facebook group, she has a YouTube channel, she has a wonderful Etsy store. I'm a part of her design team. She sent 2 members of her design team items that we can use to create projects to show you some of the really fun ways you can use things that she is selling in her Etsy store. I keep all of this in what I call my Recycled Parts for Art Why Not box. Very fun. But what I'm going to talk about today is actually something that I got from Jeri Bellini for myself because I could not resist it. It is so huge that it almost fills my entire desktop. I'm not sure that it was meant as a composition book per se. It's not a ledger book, but it has these wonderful worn and torn ledger corners. This is so huge. It almost reminds me of the wallpaper art journal that I worked on a few years ago. It is just, it's huge. I can't even get it in the full view of my camera. And it is so fun to look through here. Now, inside of here are newspapers. These newspapers were originally bound into this book, but they were falling out, and some were in, some weren't. I took them all out so that I can work with them. Now, am I going to art journal on them? I'm not sure. I probably will take ones that I'm really interested in to the library and scan them. These are 1909, 1910. You're almost carried back into that time period where you are not reading your daily newspaper. You are reading a daily newspaper called the Archbald Citizen. Archbald is a town in Pennsylvania. I did Google it because I wanted to know a little bit of the history of where this paper's coming from. Right now, I think the 2010 census was about 6,900, up around in there. I have marked some things in here. There's just a lot in here that's interesting. Home comfort. I see a lot of Castoria ads, which I think is funny. I marked some items here. I thought I might use this ad, and I'm looking at it and going, what are fad clothes? I don't think I'm going to right now. Really right now, what I'm doing is reading the newspaper. It is just so fun to go through here. I notice a lot of, I guess you could call it the world news of the day. Ambassador Jean Jusserland. And I noticed that the photographs that are in here, which I think is sort of funny, are either of really famous people or of ads for tonics and that type of thing. And then I noticed a few pages are thicker. As I thumb through here, I was going, well, do I have 2 pages? I don't know if I can get, I thought I marked one. I was going to show you. It was very interesting. Is it? Yes, it's this one. Let me get here. Here's, this is interesting. This is the page that I marked because it was thicker. I'm going to talk about that, but I thought this was interesting. Homer Davenport, cartoonist. Let me just kind of read this. It's very interesting. Homer Davenport, the famous cartoonist who suffered a nervous breakdown in California, is one of the few American artists that ever became famous without any art training. He was born on a farm in Silverton, Oregon, and began his life as a locomotive fireman. Tiring of that, he obtained a place with a traveling circus, and his drawings first attract attention through the publication in the San Francisco Examiner. Just kind of fun. Who would have known? And I look at that and I'm going, you know, I would love to make a cartoon out of his face, just for fun. But as I was reading that article and handling this page, I noticed that it was glued down. It came this way. Now, I think that whoever archived this, I don't think this was done by, in fact, I'm 100% sure it was not done by Recycled Parts for Art. But look at this. Look at the back of this page is blank. I think that the newspaper who published this this one was published in January 22nd of 1910. I think that they had a newsprint that may have not published on the back side, and so they took another one, which was January 22nd. Could have that, yeah, January 22nd, 1910. And it looks like it's the same. See, there's the picture there, the file cabinets, which is this file cabinet. It looks like they glued the one that was in a mistake because it didn't have the print on it. See, this talks about the poultry show was a big success, and here's that article. It looks like they glued the one that was in error on the face of one that actually had printing on the back of it. I thought that was very interesting how they did that. In today's world, they would have said, oops, mistake, and tossed it. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I love it. I love it as an art journal. I love how huge, absolutely huge this book is. I love working large. But am I ready to actually paint and draw and snip out? And no, I'm not really ready to do that yet. I have to be honest. So I got this far to this point in looking at this afternoon, and I want to do a video. And I could spend the rest of the week going through these pages. It's so interesting. You can see I already have my sketchbook out because of what I'm going to do. This is a Strathmore watercolor book, watercolor paper. This article caught my attention. And of course, I had to research it. I did not mind map it, but I did go look this up on Google, and I learned from it. I love this story. It's called The Children's Astronomer. And maybe some of you who are teachers may be familiar with this. This is about Miss Meri Proctor, and she was the daughter of a well-known astronomer. I think she did have education, but I don't think she was known as a trained astronomer. But she was asked to give some lectures at the 1898 Chicago World's Fair. Her stories, her lectures, which are all gleaned from her father's studies, because she kept track of his library and his books and all of that. She became very educated by her father, and she gave all these lectures, and she became very famous. I enjoyed reading this so much that I went out on Google and I found a photograph of her, which looks very similar. This is the one in this paper, and this is the one I found on the internet. And I thought what I would do is just sit here and sketch her, perhaps do a sketch from this photo, and maybe add some of the wording from this article onto here. This might become my Archbald Citizen art journal. I am going to use this set of brushes and the pens that I have out here that I've been using in my mini scroll book. I still am going to use my Jane Davenport watercolors. I think I'll start out with the neutral palette, but I do think I will add color to this. I probably will start it in color and do sketch in color, but I will come back in, and my intention is to pull out some of the information in this article. So I'm going to work on that page and pull the information from here onto here, play with it with my art journaling, and come back and show you the page when I'm finished. Here is my finished page. I really did enjoy doing this. This has just been fun for me. And I learned about the children's astronomer, Miss Meri Proctor. How fun this was. Now, will I cut this out? I was thinking while I was doing this page that I may go ahead and photocopy it and document it on the back. Right now, I'm not really wanting to destroy the composition book per se, but if you're interested in old ledgers, composition books, older composition books, even some of these huge ones, contact Jeri Bellini at Recycled Parts for Art. Go out and look at her Etsy shop because I know she has some journals, ledgers, and possibly if you talk to her, maybe some of these huge composition books. And be watching my channel to see more about how I use this book in the future. But this was just a really fun page to do. I would love to read a quote that I wrote from this article that was in the Archbald Citizen, Saturday, January 29th, 1910. It says, for she has succeeded where so many have failed. To come down from a lofty observatory to the children's intelligence and to take them up with her into the heavens, where a new world of wonder awaits the little people's pleasure. So I think she was a teacher at heart. I think she probably loved children and sharing her knowledge with them. And I can just tell that from reading this little article in the 1910 Archbald Citizen. How fun this has been. I have really enjoyed it. And in fact, I can't wait to do more. This will probably become an art journal in itself. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next page.